Now, reports have shown that they might be looking to trade for a wide receiver.
They could be looking in the trade market like someone. They could be looking to add somebody bigger than Mike Williams. That's according to Jerry Dulick when he was on the Rich Eisen show just yesterday.
Yeah, Rich Eisen was talking to Jerry Dulick about possibly bringing in Mike Williams to the Steelers, seeing the Adam Schefter report. And then Jerry Dulick in response was like, or bigger is all I want to tell you, Rich, and we shall see. But there is another step that they're going to make. Like I said, it might not even be Mike Williams. It might be a bigger catch, if you will.
No pun intended, says Jerry Dulick. I see what he did there. But
so now Jerry Dulick, I know, is one of those that you don't know if you can trust, but you have to take the report with some entertainment, like entertain the idea, because it's always a possibility.
Well, let me say this. Early into the offseason, there were tons and tons of rumors of Justin Fields linked to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then just a few weeks ago before free agency hit, there were rumors about Deontay Johnson potentially being moved. That Steelers were listening to offers about Johnson.
That escalated just 2 weeks ago, and look what happened. They were
so it goes to show where there is smoke, there is fire, especially with Omar Khan.
Yes, there is. Not just that, but also just last week, I don't know exactly who it was, but just last week, there were reports. I won't even say reports. More so rumors. Rumors is a better word. There were rumors just last week that Deebo Samuel might be getting traded, or the Steelers have had talks with the Niners about Deebo Samuel. Again, that was a rumor because there wasn't a legitimate report from that. But that is what was stated last week. That was kind of swirling around the X universe. And now, today, according to Andrew Filipponi of 93.7 The Fan, he tweets this. Sources, the Steelers have looked into 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. He's entering the last year of his contract. Steelers would have to execute a sign and trade, but they've shown interest. Now, again, this is Andrew Filipponi of 93.7 The Fan. So take this with a grain of salt. I get it. But to give him some credit on some previous reports he has stated, he was the one that broke the news about the Heinz Field name change.
That's true.
So, again, and last week they were discussing, apparently, rumors about the Steelers talking to Niners about Deebo. And now we get a report this week saying that the Steelers are talking to the Niners about Brandon Aiyuk. And there was a report just a couple days ago from a Jags insider that said that the 49ers were going to trade Aiyuk to the Jags for the 17th overall pick and wide receiver Zay Jones. Jags declined.
Obviously, that didn't happen. They went out their way and got Gabe Davis. Yeah, Gabe Davis.
Yeah, and again, we don't know if that is legitimate or not, but that was what was reported.
Yeah.
And if you consider it, man, you consider Brandon Aiyuk in these trade rumors, you gotta look at it this way, man. The 49ers, they extended Fred Warner, they extended Nick Bosa, they extended Christian McCaffrey. They're paying Deebo Samuel one of the highest paid contracts for a wide receiver.
If you want to be exact, he's being paid 28. His cap hit is $28 million this year, and then $24 million next year.
That's rich. Like, his contracts really significantly jump in cap hit value.
Yes, it is.
The last 2 years, and now they're gonna have to pay Brock Purdy soon. And we all know what the quarterback market is. Are they going to be able to pay Brandon Aiyuk?
They can't pay everybody. They can't keep everybody.
No.
As much as I'm sure, are going to try, as much as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are going to try their damnest, they cannot pay everybody.
And I know that the Niners and the Chargers are completely different franchises in front office. Obviously, just look at their success. But look at the Chargers, for example. They were the first and I believe only organization so far to pay two wide receivers $20+ million a year, which was Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And they're both gone.
Yeah.
Are the Niners going to be able to do the same thing? Are the Niners going to be able to pay Brandon Aiyuk? So, yes, the trade options are probably going to be on the table. They're going to have to entertain them. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to have to lessen the offers. I don't know if they really want to trade him because he is one of their biggest playmakers. And you're talking about the Niners offense where the ball is spread everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. And he had his best season last year, almost 1,400 yards. You all saw what he did to us week 1. 2 touchdowns, 140-something yards, I believe.
Don't remind me.
I know. But Brandon Aiyuk is a star receiver, man. He's
great.
And on another team where he's going to get more targets and more more time with the football, his stats could blow up, and he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's been healthy. He's been reliable. And frankly, I don't know if the Niners are going to be able to keep him. I don't. So thus these trade rumors or this trade discussion that's been happening all week in regards to the Jags and now apparently the Steelers, again, where there's smoke, there is fire. Keep in mind, if they were to trade for Brandon Aiyuk, if any team were to trade for Brandon Aiyuk, it would cost them a high pick and a lot of money. Because they're going to have to extend them.
It's a double whammy for whoever could be looking to add Aiyuk to their team.
Because
and I don't know if any team's going to want to be willing to sacrifice that.
No, because
it's either one or the other, and I highly doubt that it's going to be the draft capital.
Yeah, and he's playing on his 5th year this year, but yeah, they're going to have to extend him, especially depending on whatever they trade for him. The Niners didn't even want to give up the 17th pick.
Yeah.
So
the Jags didn't want to give up the 17th pick. Yeah.
Yeah, Jags. Yeah. So would the Niners be able to get the value they think Aiyuk is worth? Now, let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk's value a little bit. Again, he had his best year, almost 1,400 yards with the Niners, where the ball is spread everywhere between Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey, Juszczyk, so many others, right?
Of course.
The ball is spread everywhere. So the Niners could use that as leverage to be like, hey, you're getting a phenomenal football player where he got this amount of stats with these amount of people getting the ball at the same time. So the Niners could use that as leverage to be like, give us a first rounder. Or teams could just talk to the Niners and be like, I get it. And that's what we're trading for. That's what we're trying to trade for. But we have an incredible wide receiver draft class coming up.
Yes.
So they could throw that at the Niners front office and be like, we're not going to give you this much because we can easily draft a wide receiver. Take our offer or let him walk. Or we're going to draft a receiver.
Right.
So you got to look at it that way.
And you got to look at it from a Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint. We know how we are with wide receivers. And does Omar Khan want to give up that much draft capital, that much money, when he and himself could do the exact same thing that you just mentioned that other teams are probably considering?
And we would have him locked away for 4 years or 5 years if they take a receiver in the first round. Who knows?
Yeah.
At a cheaper deal. But you're also talking unproven to proven talent. It's one of those things, man. It's just one of those things that what are they really looking at? You also got to look at the Steelers. They don't really pay receivers big money. They've only extended, I think, 4 receivers ever in their franchise, which was Ward, AB, Juju, and Deontay.
That's it.
That is it. Now, granted, that was the old Steelers. Omar Khan is not like the old Steelers. But I don't think Omar Khan, because he was under the system for decades.
20 years.
So he is bringing his difference to the front office, but I think he's keeping some of those old Steelers ways in terms of cap and not paying guys so much guaranteed money.
Of course.
So I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong in saying that.
We're talking about the cap wizard before he became the GM in Omar Khan. The man knew how to work with the cap. He knew how to work with his money.
And you got to look at it this way, man. Aiyuk, whatever they trade for him, whether it's a first, second, whatever they want to trade, right? They're also going to have to pay him at least $25 million a year.
Again, a double whammy. How many teams are going to want to pull that trigger? How many teams are going to want to do that?
Dude, Debo is making almost $24 million a year. Aiyuk is getting at least 25. You look at the highest paid contracts by wide receivers. Tyreek tops list at 30. Below him is Adams, Devontae Adams at 28. Cooper Kupp right below him, 26.7. A.J. Brown right below him at 25. He is making a minimum of $25 billion. So the Steelers would have to pay him a significant amount, a big contract, the biggest contract for a wide receiver in Steelers history, and he wouldn't even have to play a snap yet.
Here's another thing to consider. If, and this is a very big if the Steelers were to pull that trigger and pay Aiyuk, how much money they're going to have to pay Pickens?
Yeah.
They got to extend Pickens. They have to. I know for a fact they're going to want to keep Pickens. Everybody wants to keep Pickens. Everybody wants Pickens to remain in the black and gold.
Pickens is a star, man.
So why would you go out there, trade big capital, and pay Aiyuk all this money that don't get me wrong, he's worth, but you also got to look at it from a team aspect.
Yeah.
And who you're trying to keep overall. You're going to spend all that money on one guy and then let another guy like Pickens walk?
Absolutely.
Because you don't have that money to pay Pickens that money, and then you have to replace receiver again next year.
But at the same, I will throw this at you at the same time. They're not paying a quarterback any top money, and they're not going to do that for a while now.
Sure.
We have not invested a lot of money into the offense.
Sure.
We have not. The most money we've invested into the offense is our guards.
Then what about Najee?
Your fifth year option.
Fifth year option, but then we're going to have to extend him as well.
I don't think he would break the bank. Running backs don't break the bank.
He may not, but you still got to pay him. I'm sure they still want to keep him.
They would.
They want to keep their stud back.
See, that's a different discussion because he's a running back.
Okay, I get it, but you're still paying him money.
No, you're right. I would extend Najee. I wouldn't give him a big contract. I wouldn't keep him too long.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
You're right. But I think there are ways to move around for paying Aiyuk and still paying the other guys. I think there are ways to do it.
$25 million a year for Aiyuk?
I know.
And then imagine say Pickens has another breakout year. Imagine what the fuck he's going to want.
I know.
I don't know how it's possible.
Pickens is not getting $25 million a year.
Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure?
No, he'd get like a Deontay contract, and then he would make $25 million in the next contract.
I don't know, man. Pickens is a different breed.
He is.
He's different.
I don't doubt it.
He's him.
I know
he is.
I know he is.
So listen, I don't know. I don't know if that's. I mean, that's something that Con and the Steelers are going to have to strongly consider, and I'm sure that they are.
I just throw that out because that you got to look at that from our team aspect and the way the contracts are floating with the Steelers, with who they're paying, the highest amount they're paying. So I'll throw that out there. In conclusion with all this, Aiyuk would be a game changer. Aiyuk would be the cherry on top of this offseason. But it would be a lot. It would cost a lot. It really would. I think that Aiyuk will eventually be traded because I don't think the Niners can keep him. I don't know if it'll be with the Steelers. Maybe they've had discussions. Maybe they have not. We don't know what to believe. We don't know what to believe because some of these reports may just be flabbergasted stuff to get whatever they want. Views, clicks. Maybe they just want to throw whatever at a wall and hope it sticks, right? I don't know. We don't know exactly what to believe, but I mean, you gotta take it with a grain of salt, but at least entertain the idea, and that's what we discussed here. Aiyuk would be a hell of an addition, but you're right, it would cost a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, other trade options out there would be. I know everyone's gonna throw out the names. Stephon Diggs. He has an incredibly rich contract, and he's going to be 31 this year, I think.
His cap hit is an average of $27 million for the next at least 4 years for Buffalo.
Ooh.
They got an opt-out option after this upcoming season, but
the dead cap of that is
very high.
But he's still playing at a high level. But he does bring drama issues. He brings that diva mentality. He has cryptic behavior, which we just got rid of. Does Con want to bring that back in the locker room? I don't think so. No. And I don't know if the Bills will want to trade Diggs within the conference.
Or get rid of pretty much their only wide receiver they have at the moment. I know they signed Curtis Samuel, but they lost Gabe Davis, and Samuel ain't exactly a number 2.
Yeah, and the Bills, man, they've lost a lot of playmakers.
So much.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford it. I know everyone's going to throw out T. Higgins. I would love T. Higgins, but he requested a trade, and the Bengals aren't trading within their division. The only way that's possible is if they resign from the franchise tag and he's a free agent, and then the Steelers throw whatever they can at T. Higgins. That's it. Other names, Justin Jefferson is being floated around on social media.
Man, that's from ESPN. Man, that's AB just...
That's not happening.
That's AB joking around.
That's not happening.
Okay, listen. If the Niners reportedly want a first and another player for Aiyuk, imagine what Minnesota's going to be preaching for JJ, arguably the best receiver in the league.
He is the best receiver in the league.
Like, come on.
So that's just our opinions on that. That's not happening. I know... I have told myself that you can't say that's not happening under Omar Khan, but that is not happening. That is not happening. What I will throw at this, and you guys have seen him in the thumbnail, Courtland Sutton. If there's a receiver that the Steelers trade for, I think realistically it could be Courtland Sutton because there's obviously that Russ connection with the Broncos the last 2 years. And the Broncos, man, they're just tearing everything down. They're going with a complete overhaul, a complete rebuild. I think that's what Sean Payton is just. I think that's his mentality. He's like, just fuck everything, man. We're just gonna revamp. We're going to rebuild everything.
After everything that Denver risked and sacrificed in that Russell Wilson trade, and seeing that it did not pan out, it did not work out, they have to gain some of that back. They have to do whatever they can to just gain some capital, save as much money as possible,
and get as many picks as possible.
Yeah, I mean they have to start fresh.
Dude,
they need a new beginning.
All they have, and I apologize if I don't name any other guys, if I'm a casual quote unquote, but all they have is Courtland Sutton and Pat Surtain. Maybe Javonte Williams.
I can't name you.
Guard.
I can't name you another guy. I can't
name you Greg Dulcich, the tight end. Maybe.
They don't have a quarterback yet. Outside of Sutton, they don't really have a true wide receiver.
No, the Broncos, and that's the thing, man. If they were to get rid of Courtland Sutton, who would be the number one? Marvin Mims?
But again, it goes back to hitting the reset button, rebuilding.
Yeah.
Because that's what they need to do.
And they have I know the Broncos don't have too much capital this year, but they have a great wide receiver class to choose from. And Courtland Sutton, he has 2 years left in his contract. And his contract is very similar to what the Steelers would be paying Deontay if he never got traded. So that's almost trade. That's pretty much an upgrade for, I would say, probably a lesser deal. I would say so. And with that Russ connection.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would cost a lot to trade for Courtland Sutton because of his cap hit, which is $17.395 million, pretty much $17.4 million.
Yeah.
That is his cap hit. And the Broncos, if they were to trade him, they would suffer $7.65 million in dead cap while saving almost $10 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm.
They could use that. And they can make up for that almost $8 million in dead cap. And the Steelers wouldn't have to trade a lot. I think it would be very similar to like a Keenan Allen situation where the Bears just traded a fourth and got him. Keenan Allen's contract is a lot more rich, but
and he put up much more production than Sutton.
right. But I mean,
just a four for that. I mean, you could consider that a steal.
Dude, we have 2 fifths next year. If Omar Khan wanted to, he could trade a fifth for next year. I don't think it would cost a lot to get Courtland Sutton, and I think it'd be a great addition because he's only 29 years old. He had 10 touchdowns last year with Russell Wilson. He has that connection. He's a great number 2. He's a fucking baller. We need receiver.
And
it wouldn't cost a lot.
The guy's also a touchdown. He had 10 touchdowns with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And that's something that the Steelers are going to want to try to produce more.
And
it's getting touchdowns on the board.
And again, it wouldn't shy us away from drafting receiver. I still don't know how high they're going receiver, but it wouldn't shy us away because we would still have to draft a receiver. In this draft class, we can get a gem anywhere.
Of course.
They're going to. They just have to. And honestly, if they wanted to, they could opt out after 2024.
Yeah, because the possibility of that, if they were to cut their losses with Sutton after this upcoming season, they would only suffer nearly $4 million in dead cap, but save $14 million in cap.
Next year. So pretty much like an Allen Robinson situation, but with better productivity. That's exactly how I see it. This would be our Allen Robinson of this year, just a lot better, a little younger.
Much more upside. And you have that chemistry with Russ.
Yeah, so if there is a trade that would be all over that I think is a little realistic.
Much more realistic.
I would say Courtland Sutton. And I think that'd be a great trade because it wouldn't cost us a lot. It'd be a similar contract to Deontay. We can cut our losses, worst case next year. Mm-hmm. The connection with Russ, it makes all the sense in the world.
And also remember, around the trade deadline last season, remember when reports were going out that Sean Payton and the Broncos were listening to offers for pretty much everybody on that Broncos roster? You don't think that they're not going to do that again?
Yeah.
Considering what they're dealing with and what they have to do to gain something back from the sacrifice they did in the Russ trade?
Absolutely. Dude, it makes all the sense in the world to trade for a Courtland Sutton. I would be all over that. And honestly, if they wanted to, they could easily restructure his contract. Omar Khan did that with Dante Jackson. He could do that with Courtland Sutton as well.
Yeah.
They could easily restructure his contract. And depending on the production, maybe they extend him a year to cut that cap hit in half next year. They have any options depending on whatever results we get out of Sutton if they were to trade for him. But I like the idea of it. I would entertain the hell out of it. And if I'm Khan and the Steelers, I'm executing it. It won't cost a lot. It's a team need. And I think it'd be a very good addition. Mm-hmm. If there's one that's realistically that I would really like, it's Sutton. Otherwise, anyone else, I mean, everyone else is too rich. Jefferson, Debo, Aiyuk, even like a Terry McLaurin, they're just a little too rich because of their contracts or their upcoming contracts and the capital it would cost to trade for them.
Yeah, considering the fact that Steelers still have other positions to fill in.
Yes.
Like center and tackle. Defensive linemen, they got to get young there. They got to spend some high capital on those positions to have them for the long term as well. That's something to consider too.
So we can't exactly deny or just shut down any of these trade rumors regarding the Steelers and any wide receiver out there because I could very well see them absolutely trading for wide receiver. I don't think Khan's done not just making any moves, but trading. I don't think he's done whatsoever. And depending on who he trades for, if it is someone bigger like Jerry Dulac was alluding to on the Rich Eisen show, he could easily trade back in the first and get whatever capital he lost.
Could do that, yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. There's many ways to get whatever we would throw away for whatever receiver out there. We can get whatever back. So you can't exactly deny any of the reports. You got to entertain them a little bit. And I definitely could see the Steelers making a move at wide receiver in regards to them trading for one. It's just a matter of who and what the realistic ability is and how much it would cost. Courtland Sutton, to me, seems like the most realistic and seems like the most Omar Khan move out there. So, just going to throw it out there. Is there any other wide receivers you think that they could make a move for? Let us know in the comments below. I'd like to hear any of your guys' opinions and your options out there. Maybe there's guys we're missing. Any options that you think we could go look for? We'll see what happens, and I'd like to get your guys' input. Otherwise, we'll see what happens with this Mike Williams interview or this Mike Williams news throughout the week. Maybe he doesn't even make it to Pittsburgh for a visit. Maybe he does, and he signs. If that's the case, then I don't know if they really trade for a receiver, but they're still drafting one. No matter what they do at the wide receiver position, whether they sign a receiver, whether they trade for a receiver, they're still going to draft one. But one thing is for sure, Omar Khan is trying to grab a number 2 or 3 before ending the draft, and he is just cleaning this wide receiver room. And it's a good thing to see. And he's not done, man. So we will be seeing a lot more news regarding this position and many others throughout the week as we lead up into draft month. It's great to see. It's a great feeling as a Steelers fan to get this sense of aggression, ruthless aggression.
Yeah, of the man constantly working.
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it, man. So who knows what else Omar Khan has up his sleeve. Could be anything. We'll see what happens. Let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Here we go, Steelers, at the end of the day. Thank you guys for everything. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!